You found us.
Welcome to Emergency Protocol, a podcast for people who are stressy and depressy.
We are your hosts,
Denise
and Jackie Freed. That's my mama.
And that's my baby.
We are sharing our 12 steps reimagined for today's society.
And our bumpy, pothole-ridden spiritual paths.
And we're bringing you along for the ride.
This is us doing the actual work.
When the shit hits the fan, you know it's time for Emergency Protocol. Hi.
Hi.
We're back.
Here we are.
Here we are.
I think this is episode 50.
Is it?
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a milestone.
That does feel like a
In a weird
milestone. Like halfway to 100. If
Jeez.
100 is a measure of anything.
Yeah. Persistence, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Great.
Doing something over time. It's been a minute. I was looking at something. I don't remember what I was looking at, but it was like our first episode was in March 2 years ago, which is a long time to be doing something.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Especially given all that's been going on in the planet and in our planet.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but stressy and depressy is feeling pretty accurate right now.
Uh-huh. October.
Is it
October's always like this?
Is it because of the change of seasons or I don't know. Or the reality of the grind, I think, is like, okay, got a little bit of grind and then we'll have some holidays and then we'll be in winter.
Yeah. I mean, I do think this is like the biggest stretch that we go, well, not really, because there's Labor Day, right? And like Indigenous Peoples Day or Columbus Day or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Kind of. But it is kind of a stretch till you get to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But it's not going to be that long because next week is Halloween and then the next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving. So that's just how it is.
I'm like freaking out that I'm basically halfway through this semester.
That's amazing.
It's going so fast. I know, but it's like, it's almost going too fast. Like I am really trying to be so present and like be that like physically and mentally focused in my classes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still moving so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's wild.
Good times. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm feeling a little tired today. I was traveling last week and just got back and got right into I had lots of stuff on the calendar this week. So it was kind of like, okay. So I was in Hawaii last week celebrating the 5-year anniversary of our launch over there, which was kind of crazy when we were all talking about it like, wow, 5 years ago. And also like it was October 2020. Like we were just going into, I had no idea that I wasn't going to see you for Christmas. Like, totally. We were having it was a weird time where you couldn't hug your people and anyway, over there kind of being everyone isolated. So, and there was nobody around, but it was good to celebrate that. It was also good to see my niece and sister-in-law and hang out with them and have some beach. Like I had a beach day where I just like sat there and listened to the lapping waves and I snorkeled a little bit, like just right out in front of the hotel, and there were fish, no turtles, no dolphins, but you know what? I'll take a few crazy looking fish, which was great. And one of my favorite things to do. And I got to drive through this thing called the tree tunnel. There's a tree tunnel in Kauai that I
Mm.
have vivid memories of from when I was a little girl visiting my uncle over there. And it was like my favorite thing to drive through because it was like this natural tree tunnel.
Like the Jurassic Park tunnel thing.
Kinda, I
Yeah.
guess. Just driving through it this time, I noticed, and I haven't looked it up yet, but I noticed that the trees weren't looking as healthy and there wasn't as many like
Mm.
I don't know if they're monsteras, but they look like
Mm.
giant pathos leaves that wind up
Mm.
these trees, and they weren't there. And I think the islands are there's an invasion of some sort of beetle happening on the
Oh.
islands right now. And so I'm hoping that
Oh.
it doesn't I haven't looked it up, but I was like,
Mm.
this doesn't look as healthy as it should be. And it rains all the time. So it's not like droughty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, I haven't looked it up
Mm.
because I forgot about it until just this moment. But
Mm.
still driving through that, it's like
Yeah.
those weird core memories you have
Yeah.
from when you were a kid. And here I am at 60 driving through this tree tunnel in Kauai. It was super
Mm.
cool. So there was that. Then I came back and I had like a full on like managing director retreat half a day, like the next morning
Mm.
in our Beverly Hills office. Like I went from
Woof.
like that to right in it. And then was I out Wednesday night? No, Thursday night. I had an event I signed up for to go see Oprah interview this woman named
Mm.
Anastasia, who
The
I
eyebrow
don't know,
lady.
the eyebrow lady, which I had no real idea of who she was, and they gave out her book. And this is a woman who came from Romania with literally nothing and built a billion
Mm.
dollar makeup, business,
Mm.
multi-billion-dollar makeup business from
Mm.
doing eyebrows, right? And there were a bunch of people kind of in the audience. And one of them was Nadia Comaneci, who is also from
Mm.
Romania. And Nadia, they gave her a mic and she was talking about how this woman was an inspiration to her because she also
Mm.
realized she recognized her last name as Romanian and sought
Mm.
her out. And when I was a little girl, Nadia Comaneci was a Romanian gymnast, and she was the first
Mhm.
gymnast to ever get us 10.
Mm.
And that
Oh
was
yeah.
50 years ago.
Mm.
And so another kind of childhood, like, it was such a big deal for
Mm.
this young girl to get a perfect 10 in
Mm.
gymnastics at the Olympics.
Mhm. Wow.
Then the last night, I went to hear Timothy Snyder, and he was talking about his new book called On Freedom.
Mm.
And I haven't read it yet. And he was being interviewed, and that was at the Skirball Center, and I was probably one of the youngest people in the room at 60.
That is so crazy to me, but
I
yeah.
know. And we were kind of I met up with one of my book group ladies was there with her husband, and
Mm.
we said
Mm.
whoever gets there first can save a seat. So she took my extra ticket. Her husband had only bought one ticket thinking she was
Mm.
out of town. So I gave her my extra ticket, and listening to somebody talk about freedom and what that means
Mm.
from a historian point of view. He's a historian. He's a history professor. And
Mhm.
I don't know if he still teaches at Yale, but he was a Yale professor, or he
Mm.
might still be a Yale professor. But he talked about he got rid of electronics in his classrooms like in 2016 or 2006, something like way back. And
Mm.
he found that his students retained more and also had like better grades
Mm.
once he got rid of electronics. Right.
Like he
So
doesn't use them either. He doesn't present using slides or anything.
I don't,
Mm.
we didn't have Q&A around that, but he just said,
Fair. Interesting.
yeah. And he also said, the question that everybody asked, because people were asked to submit questions, and the question that came up most was, what can we do? Right.
Yeah.
And his answer was, there's not one thing that anyone can do, but do something. Whatever
Mhm.
your thing is, do your thing
Mm.
and keep doing it. And so he's like, do protests matter? Yes, protests matter. Does giving matter? Yes, giving matters. do local support and local voting matter? Yes. Like it's not just one big general strike. It's not just one big no kings. It's not just one thing, but all of those things together add up to something. And he felt very hopeful. And he also pointed out some of the weaknesses and what's in the, I'm just going to call it a regime in the regime, right? And so that was interesting. So I left there feeling more hopeful and also glad that, there was a whole auditorium full of people who drove. If you're from LA, you know what this means. Drove on the 405 on a Friday night to go hear somebody talk is like, you're making a commitment.
Yeah.
There actually wasn't any traffic, but usually, a 10-mile drive, if that, could take you an hour.
Yes. Correct.
On a bad day. And then I had this morning and I don't have anything this afternoon. So I feel like, okay. And I got up early and then I kind of fell back to sleep for an hour. And
nice.
Yeah. And then next week, I'm going to see Brene Brown at my favorite bookstore in Summerlin. Shout out to Godmothers. We're not doing any.
You mention Godmothers every single episode.
Because I just love the bookstore so much. And I love that they make community events there. And so anyway, I'm very excited to do that. And I'll see a work friend on the way up, my friend Mel. And we're going to have early dinner together, and then I'm going to keep going. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to pop on the game and listen to the game and drive home. The last ACFC game. Oh,
so sad.
Cry. And I had a lot of emotions around that. So, all of us in our places this week were Livy and your dad were at the game together. You were listening or watching in St. Louis, and I was listening in my car in Kauai as two of our people
all sobbing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
Yeah. So, I love that we care enough about this team and these players to actually feel the loss of their retirement, right? Like it's kind of an interesting thing. I've never had that. I don't know that any of us have ever had that. Your dad has probably had it. Yeah, because he's grew up with, sports heroes.
I mean, I feel like the U.S. women's national team has had significant retirements that like we've all kind of processed before, right? Like Mia Hamm or Abby, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But
we haven't had a local team that we're like invested in, where we know pretty much. I mean, there's a bunch of new players, so we have to get to know the new players.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah, but like we know the players.
We know the players.
I know who's injured. I know who's out on maternity leave. I know who's out on whatever leave of absence. I know who had surgery and is working their way back. Who's back and not playing a lot because they had surgery and they're coming off an injury.
Yeah.
I know who I think should be played because they're great, and why the fuck isn't the coach putting them in?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So it's fun. It's fun. And it's also a little bit heartbreaking in the powerlessness. So going back to like kind of like this idea of like, I can't, the wisdom to know the difference, right? Like, I can love this team and I can't control who stays, who goes, who plays,
right,
who gets injured. And so I just have to know that there's going to be a certain amount of heartbreak in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if men feel the heartbreak I think it's processed differently because I think they might just get mad or something. I have a coworker who's mad at the Yankees right now because of the way they're treating, because of what's going on in our country and some of the stuff that's gone down. And he's a diehard fan, like every day, Yankees. And he hasn't been wearing a hat for months now. He's also mad at the Dodgers for the same reasons, right? Like,
Yeah.
right? Because the Dodgers staged ice things in their parking lot, and the Dodgers,
And they went to the White House to celebrate.
and they went to the White House, and the owner has some investments in private prisons. And, just divest yourself of that fucking stuff when your fan base is mostly brown.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Right. And also pretty much every single sports league, at least definitely male sports league in our country, was built on like the sweat of Black and brown men.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw a thread yesterday that was like, while we're watching the World Series, can we make a list of all the people who are safe to cheer for?
Right.
And so people were going through the whole roster and like naming Blue Jays and Dodgers players who like they felt were on the right side of history. And it was cool to see that like even being a discussion, right? And also cool to see like how so many people were engaged and like had an answer prepared and were like, I love like Brewster Gratterall and his Brown household. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just, really cute.
Yeah. So, and I just finished, our book group was The Night Watchman. And it was about, I'm blanking on the tribe, a Native American tribe in the 50s who, were getting cut off from the federal government subsidies. And, after we've taken all your land and all your stuff, we're and said we would take care of you for your into perpetuity. Now we're like, maybe not, and I also saw a post, and I have to investigate what's true and what it is, but that there was a I believe, Christian, I don't know if it's a pack or what, that is making a claim against the Kamehameha Schools, which is an indigenous school, that it was the last queen in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Gifted her lands to the Kamehameha Schools to be used into perpetuity to educate Native Hawaiians so that they would always be in touch with their culture and their heritage and their everything. And it is exclusive to that. And they're very profitable lands. I mean, some of the most, like one of the biggest shopping malls, I think, on the planet is on this, and it's prolific. It's like, so these lands throw off a lot of money. So hopefully they'll have enough to defend themselves. But I'm like, what the fuck? Just let people have some fucking dignity and let them keep their identities. Like, who the fuck do you care? Like, what do you care?
Totally.
What do you care?
And also, like, the reason that they're mad is because, like, these things were established in reaction to white people explicitly excluding everybody else from things.
Right.
Right. So, like, you can't tell them to go make their own space and then be mad when they have their own space.
There you go. Anyway, there's just that kind of stuff going on where I'm like, and then, in the midst of all that, kind of coming back to these 12 steps in our 12-step meeting and all of that, when I was over there, I was looking up meetings, and then it just like I was too tired the first day to go from all the travel and whatever and getting through everything. And then the second day, I could have gone to a meeting on the island, but I remembered that I had my 2:00 meeting that I have at work, and I could hop into that. And so I was just like in this shopping center, I found a little table and hopped on with my phone. And it feels really good to have community where I know I can hop in, like I can count on it. At Fridays at 2:00 Pacific time, there is a place where I can go and talk about how I'm feeling and where I'm at and be honest with everybody. And they know me and I know them. And it's super cozy to be able to do that, even if it's on Zoom, right? And there's people in there from DC and Florida and LA and New York, Washington. Like we're all from all over the place, right? And I think it is important that people have a place to go. And I want to keep putting it out there that we are creating a place for people to go to talk about, just to talk, to show up and say like, this is what's going on. And I'm not feeling so great, or I'm feeling lonely, or I'm feeling tired, or I'm feeling hungry, or I'm feeling,
really good.
I'm feeling really good and I'm having a great week.
It feels weird to feel good.
Yeah. Or it feels great to feel good and I can't wait to share my good feels with everybody, right? Or I'm feeling good and bad. I'm feeling grief and joy. Like it's not gray. There's a lot in the gray, Yeah. So I just feel like I wanted to acknowledge that it's scary, even for me with 39 years of sobriety, to go find a new meeting and just to go and drive myself there and walk into the room. Or in this case, part of it, the reason I didn't go is it was in the parks and I didn't have a chair and I didn't have like a dry thing. And all I had were white pants and I didn't want to sit on wet grass. So part of my reason I didn't go to those was that a lot of the meetings are outside in Hawaii because the weather is just conducive to having an outside meeting and it's beautiful. Yeah, exactly. But it is still harder to walk into a meeting that you've never been to before, where you're pretty sure you're not going to know anyone and just be there, even knowing that they know who I am and what I'm there for and what I'm about. So I just want to acknowledge, like, for anybody who listens to us and is considering coming to our Sunday meeting, I want you to know I understand it's hard and you don't know and it's scary and like, am I going to have to say something? No, you don't have to say something. You don't even have to turn your camera on. You could just come in and like have your camera off and listen. Like, I just want to welcome you to that because I think people need a place to come to. And if anybody's been listening to us for a while, they have a sense of who we are. And we don't have a sense of who you are. So that's the other part.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. All right. I'm done talking because I had a lot going on this week. But what do you have going on this week?
I also have a lot going on this week. I was saying to one of my professors the other day that fall always feels so melancholy. I don't know why, but it does. So, and she was like, yeah, totally. She's like, we're coming up on the worst part of the year for me. She's like, when it's gray and gloomy and whatever, like bad. And I was like, oh, so I do need to get a happy lamp then. Also, for those who don't know, happy lamp is it's a lamp that's supposed to mimic the same brightness and intensity and wavelength as sunlight. So you can use it as like basically a synthetic sun when you're waking up in the morning. And it kind of helps you like build up that vitamin D and also just kind of like start your morning on a day when it's gray. Pretty cool. Science. Yeah. I'm trying to do better at explaining things that I know and have known for a while, but realize that other people might not know. Yeah. It's been a week. I like class-wise in terms of what we learned, it wasn't so intense, but there's just like a lot coming down the pipeline. So preparing for that. This was also very much a like ducks in a row kind of self-care week. So I met with a lot of my professors and said, hey, I'm back in school after 10 years and it's been challenging because that's not something I would have done when I was in school the first time, right? If I was sick or something and like needed, one day extension on a paper. Yeah, exactly. Maybe I would have had that conversation, but I wouldn't have been as like kind of honest or proactive as I am right now. So I've met with almost all of my professors at this point, and they've all been very understanding and kind. And I'm trying my best to set myself up for support. So going to the writing center and starting to work on assignments that aren't due for like another month and a half, right? There's another, I think, scientific principle there, which if you start a task, then it's undone in your brain. And so your brain has this like impulse to finish the task. So by getting a start on an outline or whatever, I'm trying to trigger that part so that it doesn't get lost in the whole flavor of everything else that I have to do. I'm kind of freaking out because I don't have a practicum yet, and I'm supposed to have one 3 weeks from now, like to enter into our registration system. But I'm kind of making moves on that. I, again, like met with the practicum advisors this week and had some good conversations there. I'm also trying to be really honest with my peers too. If I'm having trouble with stuff like that or stuff with, schoolwork or whatever.
Right.
Because I think it doesn't serve anybody to pretend like everything's fine and everything's good. And, oh yeah, practicum search is going well. It's not going well. It's not going well for a lot of people, and I'm not the only one. And so by sharing, then I also get that disclosure on the other end, which is I also don't have a practicum yet. Right. And I'm stressed about it. Right.
Okay.
So, and I have a plan in place now more than I did 5 days ago. So that feels good. Yeah. It's been a really interesting week of putting a lot of the stuff that we're talking about in the classroom or stuff that I am reading about in theories or hypothetical situations and actually entangling with them in real life. So there's this thing called the Compact for Higher Education that our current administration has put out, and a lot of schools were entertaining that talk, and then a lot of them said no right away, and others have been less clear about that. So I'm at a school that's been less clear about that. And a lot of the things, like the only good thing I like there is that they're asking for a 5-year tuition freeze, which I think is good. I think that makes sense. But then it's packaged in with all of this other bullshit stuff, right? Which is like capping international student enrollment at 15%, enforcing a transgender bathroom ban, limiting the free speech of faculty and staff and administrators. So just a lot of batshit stuff. And we've had kind of analogous conversations talking about businesses and how businesses have to do certain things to kind of comply and keep the lights on and keep things running. Because if they don't, then there is no business, and then everybody loses their job or whatever. And so it's kind of one of those situations where there's a lot at stake if things go awry. And also people aren't bargaining chips, How do you decide who gets in and who gets to stay and all of that? And even if it applies retroactively, like still. So a lot of advocacy around that and learning around that. And then I also volunteered with an organization that does reduced cost groceries, like free or reduced cost groceries. They bring this pop-up market to a bunch of different locations throughout the city. And I'd been wanting to volunteer with them for a while because I really feel strongly about kind of food rescue and, preventing spoilage from a humanity standpoint and also an environment standpoint. And it was a very intense experience. It was really good. And also, I don't know that I didn't know what I was walking into. So I just kind of approached with, I'm just going to be a helper. I'm going to go pick up boxes if they need me to pick up boxes, move stuff around, whatever. And I ended up being like a bagger at the end of the grocery line. And it's like, this is the stuff we're talking about, right? In social justice or practice one, we're talking about practicing cultural humility. What does that mean? It's trying to check the assumptions and understandings and biases that I have internalized, and also the attitudes of like American colonialism and white supremacy that have also internalized and are probably still there, even though I've been actively working on them. And how do I keep those in check when I'm interacting with people who are coming from other cultures, right? And how do I respect them and kind of approach that in a progressive manner, I suppose. And this was just an example of that very much in real life. How do you enforce a line for people when they're coming from a culture where lines are not really a thing, and you just kind of like push forward to the counter until you get what you need, and then the next person pushes in, right? And how do you enforce that without being patronizing, especially if there's a language barrier? How do you communicate if there's a language barrier and someone can't read? So even if you try to use a translation app, it's not really getting communicated. And then if there's somebody else there who can read, what is their responsibility or duty to kind of be a translator when it's not really their like role? Yeah. So just kind of all of the things, right? And then some people had money so they could buy more than like beyond just the voucher that they were being given. Some people had no money, so they could only afford what was covered by the voucher. And so then having to explain that once people got up to the front, if their basket was bigger than what they could afford. And then trying to figure out how to communicate that so that they could choose what they wanted the most within trying to work within that pricing framework versus like we need to kind of clear, like keep people moving because there's 5 other families crowding in behind them. So it was definitely a valuable example of how all of these things play out in real life. And also this week too has been a big lesson in what do I need to do? What policies do I personally need to put in place for myself? And what practices do I need to establish regularly so that I can show up in these spaces, being super present, practicing cultural humility, maintaining unconditional positive regard. Yeah. So all of those things, right? And I have a new therapist now, which is great. I have a new psychiatrist now, which is great. I had a realization when you were talking about going into a new meeting, how, again, I've said this before, but my social anxiety used to be so intense and it's not intense anymore. And that feels so good. I socialized twice and I'm about to socialize a third time today, which is a big deal because I've been friendly with people, but I haven't been. It's kind of weird to make friends or ask people to do things and you risk them saying no. And I'm very sensitive to rejection. So blah, blah, blah. But one of my friends asked if I would go to this happy hour that was being hosted by her building. And I was like, you know what? Sure. Why not? I'll try it. And so I went and it was fun, right? It was a new place I hadn't been in the city and probably wouldn't have found on my own. And it was nice to kind of connect outside of class and talk about non-school things. And then today, this morning, one of my classmates hosted a like home cafe, which is really sweet. Yeah, and invited basically our whole cohort. Not everybody showed up, of course, but there was about 10 of us, I think. And again, it was just really nice to kind of chat and have a place to commune that was less structured and also didn't focus on alcohol too, which was one of the intentions there, which I think is really beautiful. And then tonight there will be alcohol at a party that I was invited to, and I'm gonna go. I think I also feel bad leaving Nala for non-school things because I'm like, school is essential. School, I know I have to leave her, right? Or if I have a meeting on campus or something, like I know, or whatever, like I know I have to leave her. But socializing doesn't feel like it carries that same weight. So I always feel extra bad when I have to leave her to go out and do stuff in the world that's like non-essential, but actually is essential because it's important to connect with human beings, right?
Right. Because in LA, you would just bring her to our house and we'd babysit her.
Totally. Or in LA,
yeah,
could bring her with me, right? Because I knew that I was going to somebody's house and it was dog friendly, not somebody's apartment or whatever.
Aunt Mary would watch her. Like when somebody would take Nolly and
Totally.
And the truth is Nala is really just napping all the time. So it's not like it's
not a burden.
It's not. Yeah.
Nobody's also taking her for an hour run.
No, but I'm also saying like, you're feeling guilty, but literally she's there sleeping. So it's not like, she's missing out on game night with her mommy or, doing Legos together.
Very fair. Yeah. So funny.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, so trying to fill my cup. And then also like after this, because I have so many things going on, I have to really kind of buckle down and make myself do some work and figure out what's going on class wise in the coming week and all of that. And processing a lot of grief. You know, you talked about Angel City last week. I did buy tickets to their game against Chicago next Sunday. I haven't found anybody to go with me yet. I'm hoping that I will. And if I don't, then I'm just going to go by myself. Yeah. Because I try to not let that stop me from doing things. Right.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of weird or not normal or not, it's like judged to do things solo. But if it's doing it solo or not doing it, I'm going to do it solo. Right. So, but yeah, processing the grief around that, not realizing how emotional it is because seeing the turnover, there aren't a ton of players left over from the original like founding team of
Mm-hmm.
Angel City. And they're two of the like cornerstones of that team. So I think that's a big part of it. And also just like not being home for the final game, not being able to experience that with the family. And
Mm-hmm.
it's always sad to miss the last thing, right? Because it's not going to happen again till spring.
Right.
Uh, yeah. So that and just grief for what's happening in the world. There's so many things on so many levels. And yeah, I also did this interesting like somatic therapy exercise, which may or may not be responsible to do on my own. It might be better to do it with a somatic practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
Somatic is like body-based therapy, and part of the theory there is that you can be in talk therapy for decades and your body will still store trauma that you'll never be able to talk out and
Mm-hmm.
resolve.
Mm.
So this exercise has to do with like trauma stored in your hips, and there's a lot of different examples of that on Instagram if anybody wants to check it out. Again, it can be like emotional. Some people cry. I shook a lot. Like there's a kind of like nerve trigger that happens or can happen. It's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily going to happen, but for me it happened. And I literally my legs were shaking for like half an hour after. And I just kind of sat there and let it happen. And I feel lighter today, but afterwards when I was in bed looking at Instagram, somebody posted something that said, don't forget that this is what we're doing it all for. And it was just 20 slides of people like loving on their people, right? In
Mm.
a really, really sweet way. And I was sobbing over
Bawling,
this. Yes,
bawling.
because
Yeah.
because that's it. That's the reason we're like, that's the reason we do it, you know?
Right. Because it all
Um,
comes back to love and loving
yeah.
the people who we love, caring about our families and caring about the people we care about.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
not everybody has a loving family. Not everybody has. I feel very lucky to have what we have,
Yeah,
but
same.
again, that's why I feel like having meetings and having a place to come
Hmm.
and be is important, especially for people who don't feel like they have that place.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the thing that I love about you being in school too, is that, right now you're being exposed to all of these new people, having all these new experiences. And, that's fun. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
little scary, but it's
It is scary.
also fun and interesting because
Yeah.
like there's new people. There's all, you're in a very different place
Hmm.
with a lot of different people.
And I know fucking nobody. That
Right.
also hit me really hard today. Like I know
Mm,
people or not today, but this week. I know people at school, but outside of that, I don't know anybody here. I don't have
right.
anybody in this city. The closest people I have are in Chicago.
Right.
And that's crazy because I'm used to being in a city chock full of people who I know and love and who are part of our
Mm,
village,
right.
Like throw a
Yeah.
stone and you'll hit somebody.
Right.
So that part's very weird.
Yeah. And I'm like that too. You always make fun of me. Like I go to the grocery store, I run into people. Everywhere I go,
Yes.
I run into somebody I know.
Hmm.
Like last night, I walked into this, skirball center, and I'm like looking around for my friend who said she's like sitting in the right, right middle, And I was like, okay, is it the right middle to facing the stage or right middle facing away from this? So
Yeah.
I start walking to this place and then I run into one of the women who was at my retreat. And,
There it is.
it's just, and it's not somebody I know that well or hang out with, but
Mm,
it was really nice to see her, and
yeah.
so,
Mm,
but it's always like that. And that's the other thing. It's like, okay, even at a retreat that I organized and host, there were women that come that I don't know. But by the end of the weekend, I do know, right? And then I'm happy to see out in the wild, right?
yeah.
And there's a comfort level that just happens automatically when that connection is made. And
Yeah.
so it's about making those connections. And I think it's about, being face to face, eye to eye, belly to belly, like you just, being with people, I think is important.
Yeah.
And I think as things get weirder, if, not if, but when they get weirder, right? I might have to do things like not be on social media, right? I
Yeah.
might just need to be able to, send a carrier pigeon to my friends, say they're here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of snail mail. I've sent more snail mail in the last 5 years than I have ever in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And so,
Mm.
you know, we'll see. I just feel like, the AI and the Big Brother and all of these things that are now just being tracked in weird ways that I don't even understand or, you know, it just feels funky.
Yeah, the surveillance machine is about to get ramped way up, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. And so, you know, yeah.
I will say volunteering in person did feel really good. As somebody who doesn't
Yes.
feel as able to kind of donate or even protest, but right, because who's going to take care of Nala if something happens to me?
Right.
But I can go volunteer, and that felt really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was interesting. Last night, this writer's block had hosted Timothy Snyder, I don't know, like 6 years ago. And he started that talk then was, how many of you are willing to protest and stand up for democracy? And, the whole room raised their
Mm-hmm.
hand. How many of you are willing to lay down in front of a tank for democracy? Yeah, not as many. How many of you are willing to die for democracy?
Mm-hmm.
And it was very quiet. And he's like, then none of you are really willing to fight for democracy, because it was like
Mm.
that. That is what it takes for some. That's sometimes what it takes. And
Mm.
he's also, I didn't realize this, but he's been doing a lot of work in Ukraine.
Mm.
And so he is witnessing this. He's like, the thing about this was kind of the hopeful thing, right? Like,
Mm.
these people are in Ukraine. They're getting bombed on. They're like, it is happening. And what he said is they're still this living their lives, like living their lives to the best of their ability. And that's what we all need to do, is to live our lives to the best of our ability. All of this can be going on. And he's like, so I still need to support scholars. I still need to give them a place to teach. I still need, like, we need to pay for we need to pay for real reporting. One of the things that he was talking
Mm-hmm.
about in reporting, she said, what would you do if you ran a newsroom? And he's like, I wouldn't report on the daily events. Everyone's reporting on the daily events. I would only report what I'm paying my reporters to report on.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that might take weeks of journalistic integrity and investigation to be written. It's
Mm-hmm.
not today's news.
Yeah.
Everyone's reporting today's news. And I thought that was super interesting.
Mm.
And also that it's important to find the people that have the integrity, and pay them for their work. Because he was talking about how people are under this assumption that everything's for free because it's you can find it on the internet. And he's like, no, he's like, would you want to hire a free plumber? Like, we wouldn't want the free plumber.
Yeah.
And so why would you want the free news? You want actual credible sources. And, so I look at, like, I pay for Heather Cox Richardson. I love her, the way that she delivers news to me. And I know that I know her integrity because she is a historian and she actually cares about facts, and she's not reporting from one side or the other, but she's reporting it factually. Right. And so I just think we're in a time where people need to support each other and do what they can for each other and give to each other and show up to work every day and pay for good news and donate where we can and protest when we can and share our resources if you have them. And all of that.
Yeah.
For as long as it takes. And he also said, like, it's not there will be a change. There will be a change. No one's going to know what that looks like. And so
yeah, I think now is also a really good time to revisit values. There's an exercise that one of my past therapists, Jamie Brooks, introduced me to. It's called a value sort exercise. She actually sells a version of this in her shop, Well Lived Woman, which is a values deck. And there's a lot of different versions of this online with different values. But I think going back to that can also be helpful in reframing what I'm focusing on and what matters the most to me right now. Because then I can kind of zero in on, like, okay, what is the best way to preserve this, right? Or how do I embody this value?
Right.
So I think I'm going to do that this weekend.
Good.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I'm going to drink water.
We're going to drink water.
Universal Mother's taking care of me.
You're a fucking miracle.
You're a miracle. We're the miracles.
We're the miracles. And I'm going to do a little shout out to West, who's a new grandpa.
Oh, cute.
I know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, West.
Yep.
Cute. I'm going to text him after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, like, this is why we're doing it. It's so special to see to see the joy in people's lives increase.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Joy
and to be
is
happy
available.
For them.
Yes. Joy is available. And so I'm going to just keep going. I mean, this is the thing. Like, I can feel like last week traveling alone is a little bit like there's a little bit of loneliness that seeps in. I was busy and I was doing fun things and it was beautiful and all that. But there are moments where you're like, oh, I wish somebody was here. One of you guys who I'm used to traveling with was with me. So I could be like, I was like, I had a reservation to this really cool restaurant we like to go to, but it's not a place you want to go to by yourself because it's like a shared plates place where you don't want to just eat eggplant and bread. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that kind of stuff. But I also realized, like, I can find joy and make my own joy and make my own happiness and stay in my gratitude. And when I'm not in gratitude, like, no matter what, doing what you did, like going and volunteering somewhere or just being of service to one other person, place, or thing.
Showing up when people invite you places.
Yes. It changes a lot inside.
Yeah.
And makes me feel good. And so staying isolated, saying no, being in a little, being in my bedroom, scrolling, doom scrolling is not a great solution for a person like me. I don't know who it is a great solution for, actually.
I think there is something to be said for being present because it's a very rapid way of communicating with a large group of people, especially
Yes.
your loved ones. So, like in a time
Yeah.
of crisis or a moment of uncertainty or danger, like that's kind of a crucial thing. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that happening right now. But yeah, in general, it's a lot. Being
Yeah.
online is a lot, and I'm chronically online.
Yeah.
I've been trying to be better about that. I was really good about it at the beginning of the year, and then I got sucked back in, and I'm doing a lot of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Hmm.
So with
Oh
that,
yeah, I had
everything,
a weird
go ahead.
anxiety thing. No, no, no. I'll talk about it next time.
You can talk about it now.
I'll save it for next time. It's been a long time.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Listener, are you ready?
Yeah.
I
And
think
you,
you're ready.
if you're not driving,
Mm.
if you are driving and you want to close your eyes, pull over.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But if
Yes.
you're not driving or operating heavy machinery,
Uh-huh.
you can close your eyes
Mm.
and think about what you're grateful for.
Mm.
And just take a deep breath in and exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All
Yay.
right. Love you.
Love you.
And love you all
Love
out there.
you.
Come to our meeting Sunday mornings, 10 o'clock
Yeah.
Pacific time. You'll find the sign up sheet on our website, 12
Mm-hmm.
Steps for Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll email you the link and love to see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
We want to hear from you.
Find us on Instagram and TikTok at 12 Steps for Everyone. That's at the number 12 Steps for Everyone.
Please like and follow us. You can also send us topics you want us to dig into or follow-up questions from each episode.
And if you know someone who would enjoy or benefit from our conversations, please feel free to share this with them. All are welcome here.